We're not alone. A month ago, you whistle. This is the guy's name who talked about 4 types. Okay.
Tonight, for the first time, a former senior military intelligence officer comes forward to say what we've only imagined is true.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone.
Claims that our government has proof of alien life from Roswell to the present day.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 miles per hour.
It looks like wait, let me see.
Extremely unethical and immoral, and it's totally frightening.
From Roswell to the present day.
We're all going against the wind.
It looks like a car, bro, flying in here. It's like it's like Lightning McQueen. Here's a tire, here's a tire, here's a tire. It's like Lightning McQueen from Cars. The Jetsons. What's the Jetsons? I'm Googling it. Oh, I see. Yeah. I never watched it, but now I know. For real.
There are non-prosaic cases, 100% unexplainable. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft they're seeing.
Is this decorated officer a liar?
Why should we believe you?
A fool?
Is it possible that you're deluding yourself?
Or a hero?
I'm a patriot, and I believe the truth to power in this.
We're talking about the biggest secret in human history.
Here's the thing, like, yeah, like if it's really like how the government let him talk about the secret information if he worked for the government. Is it something he's gonna be put in jail for? Or the government is the 2 steps ahead and they know that people are not gonna believe him no matter what he's gonna, even if he's saying the truth, people are not gonna believe it because like nobody does anything. Maybe it's like that's kind of strategy, you know, we're not doing anything. Since we're not doing anything, people are gonna not believe him anyway because, well, we don't care, so he might not speak in the truth then. I honestly think any UFO stuff is just the military stuff.
We are not alone.
Here's the thing, if something ever like landed on the planet, some kind of alien technology thing, he claims that there's quite a number of alien aircrafts that they captured. How is it there's not a single like person ever witnessed anything? Like there's no documentation, there are no videos, there are nothing basically online about it. I'm pretty sure there's a chance that, wait, how's those UFOs never landed like in the middle of New York, in the middle of, I don't know, like any kind of city, village? It just doesn't make sense. If there's like quite a number, there's also a chance they're gonna land somewhere where people are gonna see it, record everything, and it's gonna be available to the public.
UFO whistleblower speaks.
It's hard to believe that the government is that efficient, you know? Oh. Like it's like, are they like Men in Black? Technologies that we're not aware of that people make the people forget about everything that happens. It just sounds too. It sounds a little impossible to pull that kind of thing off. There was a story of UFO landing in Las Vegas. Real? Well, that was funny. Freaked the cops out because they saw a meteor before 911 call. Oh.
The UFO whistleblower. David Grush is a career intelligence official who this week is making some bombshell claims of a U.S. government cover-up going back nearly a century, shedding light, he says, on that
Honestly, like in every picture he seems to be a little bit off. Like I usually don't judge people by their appearance, whatever they can like, but here, you know, like, you know, it's kind of scary. Maybe he's an alien. He could be.
Shedding light, he says, on that existential question. Are we alone? News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We have not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. But we want you to hear his story so you can decide for yourself. Mr. Grush sat down with investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who is reporting for News Nation. Mr. Coulthart is an award-winning journalist and author who has reported for the Australian version of 60 Minutes, as well as other news programs in his home country. What you're about to see is part of their conversation, touching on Mr. Grush's work with the UAP task force, his background and his service to this country, and the alleged secret military program about which he says the world needs to know.
For decades, the UFO question has been consigned.
If aliens are real, I bet we would try to invade them. Do they have oil?
But in recent years, serious people have started taking the subject seriously.
You'll see it come through the top of the screen.
Bro, like, this is what makes me not to believe any of that. If we have the technology, we're recording everything. Every time when we record something, this like kind of shitty quality video, bro. Like, you get no information, nothing on it. Like, everything is so pixelated. Like, okay, let's see what they're gonna say.
There it goes.
Prompted in part.
Oh, freaking! What's the lowest resolution on YouTube? It's like 144 p. This is the quality, bro. What if I'm gonna make it worse?
By the release of these videos, purporting to show encounters between American naval aviators and what the Pentagon has
Nice.
unidentified aerial or anomalous phenomena. Congress has convened hearings.
Yeah, this is every video, even worse than this, to be honest. Every camera that ever captured something has this quality.
These UAP are.
There is no coincidence.
They might pose.
If UAP do indeed represent a potential threat to our security,
Even like even in the 144 resolution, right? It's still pretty much you can see. Okay, this is a human. This is like all humans. They talking, right? But there, it's even worse than that.
capabilities, systems, processes, and sources we use to
Time to spread freedom to the Martians, US of oil cuff. Every video is, yeah,
observe, record, study, or analyze
in 70s.
need to be classified at appropriate levels.
The Department of Defense has established a special team, formerly known as the UAP Task Force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, to investigate and identify what are now hundreds of...
It reminds me of the
So far, they have not confirmed any of them to constitute proof
company in the game Control that was investigating paranormal activities.
indeed alone. But now, for the first time, a former member of that official investigative team is speaking out, telling a stunning story that impacts every person on this planet.
Okay.
And now you're about to meet that man for the very first time in this exclusive television interview.
Exclusive television interview.
Have it. Maybe start off telling me your name and who you are.
My name is
Is this guy like? I don't know why he looks like every sort of I'm not saying anything. Like, he looks like a Nazi officer in every World War II movie. Just if you're gonna put the uniform on him, I don't know why. It just gives out this kind of vibes. Wine Dorito, yeah.
And I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. 18 years ago, I got an Air Force scholarship for physics.
Man, I don't know.
I originally
Like,
commissioned on active duty in the Air Force, served 14 years in the Air Force.
I look at this photograph, Dave, and I see a very proud...
that's actually pretty accurate. Exactly, bro.
Getting promoted to captain when I was deployed.
And you still love your country, don't you?
Absolutely.
A career intelligence officer, Grush spent time on the ground in Afghanistan and other places he can't mention before rotating back to Washington.
I was an intel officer for the U.S. for 14 years. My last position, which I left in April of 2023, I co-led the UAP portfolio for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and some of the highest officials within the Department of Defense and Intelligence community used to call on me to advise them on some of the hardest target sets that the country had.
You are one of the most
They probably hate Helldivers.
former
Yeah.
intelligence officials in the US defense.
We need to prepare John Helldiver right now.
You were trusted with the most intimate...
I wonder if aliens would be gamers. They're probably playing some games for sure.
And he says the most earth-shattering of those secrets were revealed after 2019, when he was invited to join the UAP task force. You had the security classifications to go anywhere and ask anyone anything.
I had, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I had the ability to be read into any program that I needed. At one point in time, I was extremely highly cleared.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And
so he never seen anything. He's just like, oh, I heard stuff. No kidding. No. That's the level. That's a professional level interview, bro. Bro, you capping? Hey, shut the fuck up. I'm not. That's like the same. That's a professional interview. No kidding, bro. Nope.
based on their oral testimony.
No capping.
And they provided me documents and other proof that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
You are alleging that the US government has been concealing the existence on this planet of alien life.
I would couch it as non-human intelligence, NHI, like we like to say in our language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location, and I
The on Skibidi reads, this is the true no cap.
I couch it as somebody who studied physics where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that, yeah.
Just let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet?
Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial, yeah.
I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock.
It was to me, and I had a lot of sleepless nights.
Grush says he's never personally seen non-human intelligence, but he's spoken to enough people directly involved in what he calls the program.
I feel like for this guy, like as a professional interviewer, he didn't really do a good job. Like he didn't ask tough questions, like at least like not in this video, like maybe the full interview has it, like trying to actually like make him break, you know, like trying to get him to the in a position where he might say something that he should not, and that he can prove ourselves that he's actually he's that he is actually lying. He just asked him like a very basic questions like, are they like aliens? Are they so you're saying they might be we have spacecraft, you're saying this and that, and not actually like engaging in interview and just trying to like, okay, if this is what you got, then maybe you, if this is information A, so does it mean information B is also right? Basically trying to ask him like super difficult questions so he would actually spill the beans. Not I mean like about him either lying or giving like more information, you know? Interviewers never do good jobs ever. There's actually quite a few people um that I enjoy watching sometimes. There's this Russian interviewer who always kind of, well, he's not necessarily amazing too. He has his biases and you can see it in his videos, but he is good at getting the real emotions out of people and sometimes making them like angry and say stuff that they might not ever tell anyone. You can talk about aliens and say something crazy. Instead of pushing it, they will ask, wow, that's crazy, so what did you eat for breakfast that day? Exactly.
But he's convinced it's real.
I started out as a non-believer. I came to the problem as a hard.
That's why I don't like what's his name, Tucker, right? The interview that Tucker Carlson, I think his name is, who interviewed Vladimir Putin, because he, for the most part, was just listening to whatever the president was saying instead of actually trying to engage in sort of debates and get his questions answered directly, straight and forward, instead of like going off tangent. Yeah, Tucker. Yeah. Like there was like 2 hours interview, like was it 2 hours interview? There was like basically no valuable information to almost anyone.
Excuse my language, high factor. I was very methodical, interviewing people who didn't know each other, making sure this wasn't some kind of cover-up of some other program.
He says he pressed to gain direct access to this program, and that's when his trouble started. Grush claims his investigation was stymied, his requests for access rebuffed.
They shut the door in my face. They denied me access to these programs.
Soon after, he says, he endured reprisals and retaliation from above. He then reported that information to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. That's why he's filed this whistleblower complaint. He says that experience is why he decided to go public here and in a recent article written by Leslie Kane in The Debrief. You're not being paid for this interview?
No, I'm not.
Why are you doing this?
It's a sense of service, Call me a Boy Scout or whatever. It just when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future. And
I don't know. Like I don't believe him. It feels like he's a paid actor. Like not gonna lie, like he never stutters. Like I know he works in the military and everything, and he probably has a lot of practice of like speaking in public, maybe speaking to a lot of people and making his point, clearly even out like any sort of like flaws or problems. Like he's just kind of feels like he memorized everything, like every answer that he has that he's speaking right now. I met quite a few people and online, like I've seen a few videos too of people that can speak in almost all the time in such a like how would you call it, I don't even know how to describe it, but like you can see the person read thousands of books. He has a vocabulary. He can explain everything without stuttering, without any problems. Pulling the examples and reasons right on the spot. And this guy, he's but I don't know. It just feels like he just read off the script. It's just not true. It's just too clear, too nice, and everything. I was interested in that interview, and instead he let Putin give a history lesson for 2 hours. Exactly. Let me tell you about the world's history of Russia. So the year was 0 January 1st. Yeah, the whole interview was about like, let me tell you why we have the rights to the Ukrainian land in history. Then he goes in history, but if you're gonna try to apply the same logic that he uses, you can go even more down in history, and you're gonna find out that Russia actually belongs to, I don't know, I don't remember, either like to basically Russia belongs to someone, like to some kind of country, not necessarily it should be independent, if it makes sense. Because like if you go in history, someone owns one government, one country owns some other country, right? So the same thing. If you're gonna go back in time in Russia, like, and you're gonna try to see where Russia, to whom Russia belonged to, what people back in the day, you're gonna find out that it didn't belong to Russians necessarily. Like the lands, they should split and go to different countries, to different people. If you're gonna apply the same logic, that, I don't know why I'm talking about it, but I just remember that interview made me a little bit upset because I wasted so much time on nothing, basically. Yeah, if you wanna use history, just keep going. Then the country can literally belong to everyone. Like the Mongols didn't have part of didn't they have part of Russia once? Yes, they did. Yeah, exactly. If using that logic that, oh, Ukraine gotta be part of Russia because, well, because at some point that land was part of Russia, then you can go back in history even more and say that, okay, Russia got to split up and belongs to different people, to different countries right now. But you know what? Nothing like that is gonna happen. Nobody's gonna take pieces of Russia. Why? Because Russia is just so powerful and so strong, and they have our army and everything. But why I was talking about this? Yeah, basically that's the reason I didn't like that Tucker interview, because it just didn't make any much sense to me. Nothing. He made such a big deal out of it, but at the end of the day, we got nothing. Like, it was just basically a waste of time.
Should have won a kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I did not want to live a life of regret.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
What data? What data?
That we have, the United States has spacecraft, intact craft.
We do.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
Have you seen?
Why? Where that came from? Like, okay, he's the one guy, like one whistleblower. Okay.
Spacecraft.
I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
But, he says, the specific documents and photos that would prove his claims are still classified.
Bro, why am I even watching this, dude? I'm wasting my time right now. What's the point? There's no documents, no evidence. The guy just speaks his mind. Yeah, maybe at some point he was government official, but I have a feeling that this guy was fired for something that I don't know. Maybe he feels he doesn't deserve to be fired for, and then and then he decides to, okay, now I need to make some money, maybe make my name out in the public for whatever reason. It could be money. He's saying that he's not getting paid for the interview. It might be a lie. It might be a complete lie. Maybe he's trying to become famous. Man, if I ever see an alien ship or something, I swear I'm gonna get proof. I'm gonna shoot at one. The evidence is classified. Yeah.
We cannot disclose them here. Let's deal with the issue of your credibility.
Yes.
Why should we believe you? You're just somebody coming out of nowhere, making claims that we really ultimately can't prove.
Yeah. Well, we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the Hill staff, and we went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider. Even if you call them NHI and UAP, how could such NHI travel to Earth in the first place and go undetected by the general public? Grush says the craft may not be traveling through space.
Why he cut him off?
Established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that
What was the moment was?
Additional spatial dimensions. You could imagine
Recap of what he just said?
Space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical.
Bro, what about the credentials? Why did they skip the credentials? He was just about to answer that question. See.
And their space.
And the Hill staff, and we went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and
They just skip it, bro.
their space.
They're just like, okay, pause. Like, that's not enough evidence. There's not enough credentials.
Through space.
Okay, he just goes through the recap of the information, and then they skip to the basically talking back about it. He skipped that and went straight into the being other dimensions and stuff and multiverse. Exactly. What am I watching, bro? Like, News Nation. Oh, it's the same interview for 2023. This is a man that knows a lot more than he can say. How pivotal this interview was? Wow, I'm left with chills. The end almost brought me tears. 3 months ago, I never got a second thought to the chain. Now it has changed my... Bro, are these bots? Thanks for the full interview, Ross. Thanks, Ross. I support News Nation and Ross 100%. Bro, these are bots. People don't talk like that. Thank you for airing this interview again. Everyone needs to hear this out loud, clear, Ross. I'm really enjoying your book. If he's a whistleblower. I'm grateful to Mr. Grush for contribution moving the ball forward. And this is These are bots. People don't talk like this. I've known this since I was a teenager, but I'm glad it's coming out finally. The problem is that he's from the community. They record lying this time and again. Thank you for airing this again. It's really important for people to see this. How are people so ignorant to think we're alone? So easy to understand. We're not that special. Very important to keep this interview in front of American people. They don't want us to know because they don't want to lose their power. Thank you for being on the top, Ross. These are bots. I cannot. No. What? I don't believe people left these messages. What's your credentials? Nah, no one wants to hear that. Wow, I'm left with chills. Bots everywhere. It's like the theory of the dead internet. These are bots. This is not real people. Right? Okay, let's take this guy. Music writer. Okay. He looks like PewDiePie. You're a fantastic investigator. 5 subscribers. Two subscribers. One of them gotta have some kind of videos posted. Okay. Great job. Okay, let's see. 8 subscribers. They gotta have video posted, some like 1 or 2 of them. Playlist. I don't count playlists. Three subscribers. I'm left with chills. 1 subscriber. Seven subscribers. Not a single channel has videos. It just cannot be. It just can. There gotta be some channels with the videos something posted to show me that there are real people behind this account. I'm picking on those. I'm picking on those that I think are bots. Okay, this guy maybe. This is the only guy that has something on his channel. Maybe it's one, the real person. Again, the dead internet theory. We just found one guy out of 20 that has some video posted. Another one. You just found a bot utopia. Yeah. I think like usually when you go to like the recent messages, they are the real ones there. Now, something about the way he answered his questions. If you listen, he's not saying anything that hasn't already been talked about in 80s books, videos, or online. I would very careful believing he really knows anything. Okay, let me see. This guy probably has some video posted, right? JFK assassination audit. what? What a chance. What a chance. You would be a fool to trust anyone in the media to report the truth, especially when the government is involved. This. She might have some videos, no. They're working with Putin, anyone's here playing randomly. Actor. See how the top comments, they all praising Ross and everything, they're getting like 300, 400 likes. And when you go to the new, the recent messages, because nobody, checks on that anymore, you can see like people criticizing this video at some point. A wire forward here, once a hero, always hero there. There are people like mostly joking in these comments, but that makes me to believe these are real people, and people calling out this to be not real. There's some random, he's telling the truth. I don't believe the script. Yeah. This guy telling people to be skeptical. JFK assassination out.
On 4 and 5D space, where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space.
That's hilarious.
There, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but
it feels like everything what you say is not 100% the case.
And it's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
What can you tell me about these craft, these technologies? Why do you know it's exotic?
Based on the very specific properties that I was briefed on, isotopic ratios.
This interviewer brings nothing to this conversation, except asking the most basic questions that I can't even come up with. And I don't need to be an interviewer. Tell me about those spacecrafts that you just mentioned. You said extra dimensional creatures? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more and tell me about it? So you're saying they are aliens? Tell me about it. Like, hire me then. I want to be an interviewer too.
Table arrangements that we don't understand, what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements.
So you're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this earth?
Yeah, they're sophisticated. Engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while Grush says the US has gleaned some insight from these materials for military use, so much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially the U.S. citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting from broad research on this to solve, propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated...
Bro, like, okay, yes? Like... No, they didn't lie. Okay, everything was got disclosed. Okay, let's, in a perfect world, everything got disclosed. We know aliens exist. No, they didn't lie. No way.
Targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely...
Oh my god. This interviewer, bro. This interview is going nowhere.
A lot of the things I was briefed on were very shocking. Intact vehicle.
It's long been known that the regime of dictator Benito Mussolini documented numerous UAP during the
It goes to Benito Mussolini now.
time. This internal memo from the Italian Secret Service includes crude drawings of the
I could write this thing too, but this looks like a bomb or a candy. These things. Why are they bringing the Benito, bro? I mean,
It's true, it's real.
Yeah, that actually happened. Italian government moved it to a secure air base in Italy for the rest of kind of the fascist regime until 1945, and the
fascist regime.
So the Vatican was
Maybe I'm not American. Maybe he said it with a pure American accent.
So let me be very clear about this. You're saying
Looks like candy and 2 eggs.
the
Yeah.
Vatican, they know about the existence of
It's Benito's fault.
certainly.
Grush says shortly after the dawn
God damn that Benito Mussolini, bro. Like he could have told us the truth.
of the atomic age, another
But he preferred to focus on the war and fixing his country.
you've probably heard of it. What can you tell me about the Roswell craft?
Fortunately, those details were not approved for me to talk about right now.
This much we know. In 1947, an object crashed in the New Mexico desert near the town of Roswell. The Air Force...
By the way, by fixing his country, I meant from his standpoint, not like from a normal human standpoint. From his standpoint, just to be safe, because people might think that I'm like suddenly like a Benito Mussolini fan or something like that.
Disc at first, then a weather or spy balloon. It just read
UFO. That's what I want.
Air Force had changed its story.
Yeah, and they added additional elements over time and tried to conflate additional programs to explain some of the events.
Why are these things crashing?
Yeah, some are landed, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up. As advanced as we are, as humans, right? Planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air Force published this report in 1994 to put the issue to rest once and for all. Grush has read it.
That analysis they did was a total hack job, and even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash test dummies and mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things. They concocted that whole report just to disinform.
So the reason finally Roosevelt, there's an industry of debunkers out there on the web who say, oh, they've got this all wrong. It's a jet exhaust at a distance and the aircraft's turning. Give me an answer on that.
Well, I had some optical engineering experts look at that, and the Raytheon AT FLIR system based on the pixel saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon that's quite strange, but it's not as simple as a jet.
He has even stronger opinions about this UAP, now known to history as the Tic Tac, shot in 2004 in the Pacific by aviators off the USS Nimitz. And the Tic Tac?
Truly anomalous, absolutely technical vehicle, physical, and that's absolutely something that we didn't make.
Not of this world.
Most likely, yeah.
The videos were leaked in 2017, then officially released by the Pentagon in 2020.
Most likely, yeah.
At the time, it seemed the Pentagon may have finally abandoned its obsession with secrecy and decided to do what other countries have been doing for decades: establish a properly funded, publicly accountable team to investigate reports of UAP. Dave Grush was part of that team.
This is a hunt mission for what might somebody be doing in our backyard that we don't know about.
The task force set about investigating these incidents, including more recent events like the odd encounters that took place during naval exercises in 2019 off the coast of San Diego. This video, shot on the USS Omaha and later leaked to documentarian Jeremy Corbell, has received particular attention. It either zooms off so fast you can't see it or it sinks into the ocean, but it seems to drop. What do you know about it?
It was truly anomalous.
But Grush says the promised new age of government transparency is a fallacy. For starters, he says the videos that have been released are just the tip of the iceberg.
There are many videos that are totally fair to release through a declassification process, and I find it very concerning from a transparency perspective that all that the department has declassified were those 3 famous videos. There are more concerning videos that left me with a lot of questions, yeah.
He says there are credible witnesses who could testify to Congress about spacecraft, big spacecraft.
A lot of them were very large, yeah. Like a football field kind of size. And I remember interviewing these personnel. I'm like, either these people are lying to me, they're having a psychotic break, or this is some crazy but true stuff that's happening, and I have no good explanation that's prosaic.
Tic Tac UFO, but with flavor.
At all for this, because this is not.
Sorry, I got the message.
Swamp gas, St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, etc. Et
It just. It's a bunch of. It's just a bunch of baloney, bro. Like
years, and I expressed some concerns to Dr. Kirkpatrick about a year ago, and told him.
I'm not even. I'm half listening at this point.
And he didn't follow up with me, and he has my phone number. He could have called me. I hope he ultimately does the right thing. He should be able to make the same investigative discoveries I did. It's totally crazy if he doesn't.
So the implication here is that the head of the very body that Congress has ordered to tell the American public the truth about UAPs
Congress has ordered to tell the American public the truth.
is possibly misleading the American public. Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Well, they've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping that the lies stop.
Coming up, it gets even scarier. The UFO whistleblower says the NHIs aren't all friendly. Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence? And guess who they might be working with?
We're in a competition.
Man, at this point, if you believe this video, I'm just... aliens worked with Chinese and President Putin, right? Against the United States. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Yeah. I can see like the alien that looks like an Argonian lusty maid joining in forces with China and Russia against the United States.
Series to understand this, and it's a
I feel like this is just a propaganda for the USA to try to justify invading. Exactly.
multi-decade Cold War that has been under our nose for so long.
The common interpretation.
In like when I was like maybe 10 or younger than 10, in Russia basically they had this channel. It was the third channel. It's called REN TV. Well, I'm saying with American accent. The way I would say it was REN TV. And anyway, on that channel, like they had the shows, like a lot of those kind of shows where they would like study or show some sort of like a paranormal activity, like aliens, monsters, you know, those like a conspiracy type video type shows like this one, but it would be on actually like a TV channel. And that was like the main focus of that channel. No matter like almost what time you're gonna like start, you're gonna turn on that channel, you would see these type of videos all the time. And now we have one in 2023
From some commentators is that
on YouTube.
there is
The loop, bro. This is the loop. We live in the loop. The history repeats itself. When I was young, I was watching this kind of shows. Now I'm watching this kind of stuff. Guess who they're working for? Soviet team starts playing.
incredibly benevolently well disposed to the human race.
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is or are. But I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened based on not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony. I think at least if we look at it through a humanistic lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
I've been told that there have been attempts to bring down craft, that we've acted offensively against non-human craft.
There have been instances, and there are certain techniques.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that would reveal certain U.S. classified operations, I was briefed by a few individuals on the program that there were malevolent events like that.
No, I'm scared. People have just heard you say
No, I'm scared.
non-humans may well have murdered human beings.
Where that came from? He said malevolent intent.
That seems to be the case at one point, yeah.
And there's more. Grush says
Make him more walk.
is not the only country that's encountered NHI.
Yeah, more walking.
Technology. He says our geopolitical rivals have their own crash retrieval programs, which they are also secretly exploiting for military purposes.
Sure. This is purely inspired by the alien technology.
Adversaries to understand this, and it's a multi-decade Cold War that has been under our nose for so long, and you know there is no good way to level the playing field and hold other nation states accountable if they're doing unethical or illicit activity as it relates to this subject. And I think the obtuse secrecy is actually putting us in a very dangerous position where a country might make a breakthrough. Let's say it's an adversary of ours.
Definitely an alien. No real. The real one is in the palace. This guy was just a technology used
You say there's been a
to replicate him.
behind the scenes with Russia and China.
There has been a Cold War with our.
I'm joining the army now. I'm gonna show China and the aliens that USA is number one.
Or China come out talking publicly about this?
I think they're in a similar, pickle as us, where it's they understand maybe some of the socioeconomic destabilization factors in their own society.
But if this non-human
Wow,
intelligence is so
such a way to tell nothing, bro.
publicly about this,
I think they're in a similar, pickle as us, where it's they understand maybe some of the socioeconomic.
They understand maybe some socioeconomic destabilization factors in their own society.
human intelligence is so advanced,
Yeah.
and at least some of them are malevolent, why haven't they destroyed us already? Perhaps some fragile yet combustible détente has been reached. Grush has written an internal document about his discoveries that refers to agreements that risk putting our future in jeopardy. And it's quite clear that you're talking about agreements between America and non-human intelligences. Have we made agreements with non-human intelligences?
Yeah.
That's the kind of information I really hope national leadership is able to get to the bottom of.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements between non-human intelligences and the American government?
Yeah, and they do trade with each other. One is providing oil and another one is providing iPhones.
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well.
We do know of at least one agreement among humans that's worth noting. This 1971 agreement between the US and the USSR on measures to reduce the risk of nuclear war. Whether or not you believe Dave Grush, this document proves the two superpowers were aware that UAP existed, whatever they were.
How? Okay.
Article 3 of that treaty, it talks about unidentified objects near nuclear facilities or interfering with communications. And that is a treaty
Interfering with communications.
that has been used, from what I understand, to notify.
The parties undertake to notify each other immediately of an unidentified object.
Each other if there's a concerning event.
And that's a
It could be like a new type of nuclear bombs, right? Okay. He said Article 3 of agreement of using nuclear chat GPT I need. Oh. Bro, I'm already doing such a good job as a investigator, like interviewer. Article 3 of the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the most important international concerning nuclear weapons. Here's a summary of Article 3 of NPT. Article 3 safeguards non-nuclear weapon states undertake not to divert nuclear energy for peaceful uses to nuclear weapons to other nuclear explosive devices. To verify this, these states agree to accept safeguards for internal atomic energy agency. The safeguards apply to all sources and special fissionable material in all peaceful nuclear activities. The purpose to ensure non-diversion of nuclear energy from peaceful uses to weapons. The treaty also encouraged cooperation to develop safeguards that avoid hampering economic and technological development. Is there anything about is there any mentions of aliens or on well, what do I say? Unidentified. Okay. Identified objects. No, Article 3.
That is a treaty for nuclear facility. Look at our
AP document proves of nuclear war and the USSR on measures to reduce the risk of nuclear war and
1971. Is it 1971 agreement? What's Article 3 of it? No, there is an agreement. This agreement makes no mention of aliens, UFO, external terrestrial. It strictly deals. So basically, we're all working with aliens. What? You should become a journalist. Yeah. Each party undertakes to notify the other party immediately in the event of detection by missile warning system of or any unauthorized or any other explained incident if such occurrence could create a risk of outbreak of nuclear war between the two countries. What does it mean? If either the US or the USSR detects unidentified object, possibly missiles, aircraft, or anything unknown on their missile warning systems, they must notify the other side right away. First to unknown blips or targets on radar detection system might be misinterpreted on hostile nuclear threat. That's what I thought. Kind of, it is something that they don't recognize, but they have to share it with each other just in case to have a good communication between the countries.
the USSR on measures to reduce the risk. Certainly true.
Everything about this basically, I'm not even gonna finish this. This is just a total BS from start to finish. I'm not gonna give it a like or dislike. This is just no reason to watch it. It's so 4 types of aliens, brother. Even you should not believe this kind of videos. You should not believe this kind of stuff. This all crap until like the president of the United States is gonna come out, or some kind of very guy, like a guy in a very high position is gonna come out and say, yes, we have aliens, yes, we have evidence, and we're gonna show it to you. Until that point, everything what you see, like all this like single people showing up once every couple of years saying about this like aliens that they seen or something that they experience, you can disregard all of that. I don't believe them, I just watch. I see.